The movie is Vincent, you'll guess this, Vincent Price, Joseph Cotton. It's made in the 70s. It's about a doctor who exacts revenge on a group of doctors that he thinks killed his wife.
This wasn't Dr. Phibes.
The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Yeah, the Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Yeah. I'll tell you, this is one that I saw as a kid and that really does hold up. I mean, it's one of the strangest movies ever made.
And it's one of those movies that's scary, but with a sense of humor.
A complete sense of humor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's madcap. It's camp, you know, but it's so sick.
Yeah.
And it's so dark.
And you could see Vincent Price as having a fun time.
I was doing research on it, and according to the research, Price would laugh so much that his makeup would fall off, and they had to keep redoing it because it's so silly, but brilliant in its own way. If you haven't seen it, it's a black comedy. It's a British comedy or a British horror film from 1971, I think. And Price is, how do I explain this? He's disfigured.
Oh, yeah.
And his wife is injured and dies on the, I guess in a car accident.
Yeah.
And dies on the operating table. And he holds the medical team, led by Joseph Cotton, responsible. And he sets out to do away with each one of them using the 10 plagues of Egypt. As his theme. So one of them is killed by bats. And then Terry Thomas.
Oh, yes.
Is one of the doctors, and he shows up with his crazy assistant, his Volnavia, and they drain Terry Thomas's blood. I don't want to give the whole plot away. It is so off the wall. Scotland Yard is, of course, on his trail.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious in spots. I mean, the deaths are so elaborate and so clever. It's a Samuel Arkoff picture, American International.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody should make a documentary about him, now that there's a Castle documentary. But see The Abominable Dr. Phibes. It's absolutely fascinating. It was directed by a guy, I'm not going to pronounce his name correctly, Robert Fuest, or Robert Fuest, R-F-U-E-S-T, who was an interesting guy who directed a lot of episodes of The Avengers. You remember The Avengers?
Oh, yes.
Patrick Macnee. And he also worked with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, so he came from comedy.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a great sense of humor. Like I said, the film's a horror film. It's a comedy. It works on a lot of different levels. It's very, very strange. And production design is great. Do you remember he's got this band?
Oh, yes,
Of mechanical musicians called the, what are they called? Dr. Wizard's Clockwork, Dr. Phibes' Clockwork Wizards. A very, very strange film. And there was a sequel, Dr. Phibes Rises Again.
Yes. And around the same time, they came out with Theater of Blood.
A couple of years later, 1973, Theater of Blood, where he played a disgruntled actor getting revenge on critics who had hurt his career. But I did deep research on this one. There was supposed to be a sequel called Phibes Resurrectus that starred Forrest Ackerman.
Oh,
can you wrap your mind around that?
Wow.
Like as a poor man's Vincent Price. So the sequel's not as good, Dr. Phibes Rises Again, but it's fun. So I knew you'd know this one.